Words like legitimate and proportionate will mean little to Susie Ishkantana. Rescued from the rubble, she lost her mother and all 4 siblings in one of hundreds of Israeli airstrikes on Gaza this month. Israel says they were unintended casualties of a mission against the territory's Hamas rulers. But can such force be justified? This fighter pilot flew an F-15 jet armed with precision-guided bombs during the 11-day operation.
Every civilian casualty is tragic, whether it's in Gaza, whether it's in Israel. I am here to defend the Israeli civilians.
The 29-year-old tells me the Air Force aborts attacks if civilians are identified on the ground. Yet the conflict left more than 60 children dead. We spoke the day before a ceasefire was agreed.
What would you say to the children whose parents and siblings have been killed because of this operation?
When you ask that question, what I visualize is what's happening here in Israel. At the end of the day, Israeli lives and civilians are being targeted, which is different, but are also dying at the end of the day. I don't want to imagine a situation or a reality where people have to lose loved ones simply because they were in the area.
How worried are you that you're potentially taking part in an operation that could be equated to war crimes?
I know every target that is carried out by the Israeli Air Force has the entire operation behind it, also in the air and also on the ground, making sure that every target that we target is, 1, Hamas related, and 2, cleared in order to limit every attack from civilian casualties. That's our mission.
Legal experts say simply being Hamas-related may not be sufficient to justify attacks that also cause civilian harm.
Let's assume that a legitimate target is attacked. Then comes in the proportionality rule. The proportionality is not number of victims on both sides, but for each attack between the military advantage and the expected harm among the civilian population.
The destruction in Gaza, including infrastructure like buildings, roads and power lines damaged each time there's conflict, sits uncomfortably with a former Israeli sniper. He's now part of a group critical of Israel's offensives.
We have the right to defend ourselves, right? But the question that we need to ask ourselves is what we're doing in Gaza Strip, or by the way in the West Bank, are defending Israel. And no, I think the answer is no. Gaza doesn't have a military solution.
Israel insists all its attacks were legal and that some of Gaza's trauma was caused by misfired Hamas munitions. It also accuses the group of war crimes for firing rockets like these against civilian targets in Israel from the cover of civilian neighbourhoods in Gaza, a claim Hamas denies. The UN's top human rights body plans to investigate the actions by both sides. It's a move Israel has rejected, but comes as scrutiny of this decades-long turmoil grows. Deborah Haynes, Sky News, Israel.